The man accused of killing his 3 young daughters in Chelan County.
Decker's truck was found at the Rock Island campground just outside of Leavenworth.
We hope to find evidence that will lead us to Travis Decker.
I'm so thankful for the time that I had with the girls and how the 3 feelings allowed us to connect.
Human remains and clothing found on Grindstone Mountain are a DNA match to the 32-year-old father.
In August, a grid search by the FBI almost brought answers.
Just south of Leavenworth, it captured images of a t-shirt Decker was known to wear.
The girls thought they were going to spend the evening with their father.
What were the names of the 3 girls?
9-year-old Paityn, 8-year-old Evelyn, 5-year-old Olivia. For them, it was supposed to be another normal custody visit. A few hours together, maybe some laughs, maybe dinner, then back home. Nothing about that Friday afternoon suggested it would become one of the most heartbreaking cases in recent American memory. But as the sun disappeared behind the mountains of Washington state, their mother began to worry. The girls weren't answering. Their father wasn't answering. And the clock kept ticking. Within days, 3 young sisters would be found dead in a remote forest. Their father would be gone, and a massive manhunt would begin. A hunt that would stretch across rugged wilderness, involve multiple federal agencies, and leave an entire nation asking one terrifying question. Where is Travis Decker? The story begins long before the girls disappeared. To many people who knew him, Travis Decker wasn't always the man whose face would eventually appear on wanted posters across America. He was a veteran, a father, a man who had once served his country. Like many military veterans, Decker's life reportedly changed after his service. Friends and family described struggles that became more visible over time. The transition back to civilian life wasn't easy. Mental health concerns reportedly emerged. Relationships suffered. Stability became increasingly difficult to maintain. Eventually, his marriage ended. The divorce created new challenges. Like many separated parents, he found himself navigating custody agreements and attempting to maintain a relationship with his children while dealing with personal difficulties. But according to court records and reports, his situation continued to deteriorate. Financial struggles appeared. Housing instability followed. At times, Decker reportedly lived out of his vehicle. Camping became less of a recreational activity and more of a necessity. The image of a father trying to hold his life together stood in stark contrast to the allegations that would later emerge. Months before the tragedy, concerns regarding his mental state had reportedly been raised in court. His former wife, Whitney Decker, expressed worries about his living conditions and overall stability. Importantly, those concerns did not appear to stem from a belief that he would harm the children. Instead, they reflected fears about whether he was capable of safely caring for them while facing significant personal struggles.
Who picked up the 3 girls on May 30, 2025?
Despite those concerns, visitation continued. No one imagined what would happen next. On May 30th, 2025, Travis Decker arrived to pick up his daughters. Everything appeared routine. The girls got into the vehicle. The visit began, and their mother expected them home later that evening. Hours passed, then more hours. Soon it became obvious something was wrong. Phone calls went unanswered. Messages weren't returned. The girls never came home.
What did Whitney Decker do when the girls did not return home?
As concern escalated into panic, Whitney contacted law enforcement. What began as a missing persons case quickly gained urgency. Investigators immediately started piecing together a timeline. Where had Travis gone? Where were the children? And why had communication suddenly stopped? At first, authorities faced a frustrating challenge. There was little evidence indicating exactly what had happened. No confirmed crime scene. No witnesses reporting violence. No direct proof that the girls were in immediate danger. Those limitations affected the initial response, but investigators continued digging. Soon, surveillance footage began providing answers. Cameras captured Travis Decker's white GMC pickup truck traveling west away from populated areas, toward the Cascade Mountains, toward some of the most isolated terrain in Washington state. The discovery shifted the investigation dramatically. Search teams focused on remote wilderness areas. Officers began tracing potential routes. Every mile mattered. Every sighting mattered. Every piece of information became critical. As the search expanded, investigators realized they might be dealing with far more than a simple custody violation. Then came June 2nd, the day everything changed. Search teams concentrated their efforts near Rock Island Campground, a remote location surrounded by forests, mountains, and rugged terrain.
Where was Travis Decker's truck found?
It was the kind of place where someone familiar with survival skills could disappear. At approximately 3:45 in the afternoon, investigators located Travis Decker's abandoned truck.
Decker's truck was found at the Rock Island Campground just outside of Leavenworth.
The discovery immediately intensified the search. The vehicle was there, but Decker wasn't. Neither were the girls. Search teams spread out through the surrounding area. Then came the discovery everyone had feared. Roughly 75 to 100 yards from the truck, hidden within the forest, investigators found the bodies of Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia. The search for missing children was over. The homicide investigation had begun. The discovery devastated not only the family but also investigators working the case. The details that emerged were heartbreaking. According to court documents and investigative reports, the girls had been found with evidence suggesting restraint. Autopsies later determined the deaths were homicides. Each new detail painted a darker picture. Veteran officers who had worked countless crime scenes reportedly struggled with what they encountered. The innocence of the victims made the case particularly difficult. 3 sisters, 3 children, 3 lives stolen, and the man believed responsible had vanished. Investigators immediately shifted their focus toward finding Travis Decker.
We have no evidence that Travis Decker is alive or dead.
Arrest warrants were obtained. A local investigation became a national manhunt. The evidence left behind only deepened the mystery. Forensic teams examined the abandoned truck. Investigators reportedly recovered personal belongings, DNA evidence, fingerprints, and other materials that could help reconstruct what happened. Blood evidence discovered near the vehicle drew significant attention. Every piece of forensic information became part of a growing effort to understand the crime and locate the suspect. But perhaps the most troubling discoveries involved what happened before the murders. Digital evidence reportedly revealed internet searches conducted days earlier. Investigators found searches related to moving to Canada, employment opportunities across the border, information about relocation. At first glance, those searches might appear harmless, but when viewed alongside everything else, they raised alarming questions. Was Decker planning to flee? Had he been preparing an escape route? Investigators believed the possibility could not be ignored.
We hope to find evidence that will lead us to Travis Decker.
Additional evidence suggested he may have visited the area before the girls disappeared. If true, it would indicate planning rather than spontaneity. A location selected in advance. A route studied beforehand. A crime potentially thought through long before it occurred. Those findings transformed public perception of the case. Many people initially wondered whether a mental health crisis had suddenly spiraled out of control, but evidence pointing toward preparation created a different possibility.
Which agencies joined the search for Travis Decker?
One that investigators would continue exploring. As the manhunt intensified, federal agencies joined the search. The FBI became involved. The U.S. Marshals Service entered the operation. Homeland Security provided assistance. National Guard resources supported search efforts. Helicopters scanned remote valleys. Drones searched dense forests. K-9 teams tracked possible routes. The scale of the response reflected the seriousness of the situation.
If we hadn't found Mr. Decker during this search, we were going to continue the same next month in another area and continue to push out.
Authorities faced another major challenge. Travis Decker reportedly possessed military training and survival experience. Those skills made him a uniquely difficult fugitive. Investigators believed he understood wilderness navigation. He knew how to survive outdoors. He knew how to avoid detection. Unlike many suspects who rely on cities for shelter, Decker could potentially disappear into nature itself. The forests of the Pacific Northwest offered endless hiding places. Mountains, caves, remote campsites, abandoned structures. Miles of terrain where a determined person might evade capture for weeks or even months. That possibility forced authorities to prepare for a long search. Meanwhile, Grief consumed the community. In Wenatchee and surrounding areas, memorials appeared almost immediately. Flowers lined sidewalks, stuffed animals accumulated near vigils, candles burned late into the night. Classmates remembered the girls, teachers shared stories, neighbors struggled to comprehend the tragedy. People who had never met the family found themselves emotionally affected by the case. Perhaps because every parent could imagine the fear, every family could imagine the loss, and every person understood the horror of 3 innocent children never returning home.
I'm so thankful for the time that I had with the girls and how the 3 feelings allowed us to connect.
As public attention grew, difficult questions followed. Could the tragedy have been prevented? Were warning signs missed? Should stronger restrictions have existed? Did mental health systems fail? Did custody systems fail? Those debates continue today. Yet regardless of the answers, one reality remains unchanged. 3 little girls lost their lives, a mother lost her daughters, and a community lost part of its innocence. As of today, the story remains unfinished. Unlike many true crime cases, there has been no courtroom testimony, no conviction, no final explanation, only an ongoing search, an ongoing investigation, and an ongoing demand for justice. Somewhere, investigators believe Travis Decker knows exactly what happened during those final hours. Somewhere, he may still be running, still hiding, still attempting to avoid accountability. But law enforcement agencies insist they will not stop searching. Because Paityn deserved a future. Evelyn deserved a future. Olivia deserved a future. Instead, their names became part of one of the most heartbreaking criminal investigations in recent memory. And until the man accused of taking those futures is found, the story remains incomplete. A tragedy without closure, a manhunt without an ending, and a nation still waiting for answers.